and I grew up skiing, so snowboarding was a challenge. I spent about 90% of it on my butt, as a lot of people probably know if you snowboarded. And I was with an instructor, and I was with my father, and we were kind of learning, and she was trying to make small pockets, so she asked me, she's like, where do you go to college? And I say Stanford. She's like, oh, what do you major in? And I said, art, history, and English, potentially. And she looked at me, and then she looked at my dad, and she was like, you're really going to let her major in art history? What is she going to do with that? Wow. Yeah. So, why am I telling you this? My whole life, I've thought very linearly, and I've been very goal-oriented. So what I mean by that is that I've very commonly picked a career, even at like the age of 5, and I thought that there was one way to achieve it. So when I was little, I wanted to be a fashion designer, and when I was 5. And so what could I tangibly do to achieve that goal? I learned how to sew, hand sew, sewing machine. I was taking drawing classes. I would sit there and I would draw people, because I felt like that was a way to achieve it. It's why I still kind of sit in class and draw my hand to pay attention, just kind of a habit I picked up. And then after that, I wanted to be a math teacher. Ironically. Because I think math kind of aligned with my way of thinking, because at that time, like middle school, there was one answer, and there was kind of one way of getting there, and I kind of applied that to life. And so what could I tangibly do to become a math teacher? I would tutor kids in math, and I would tutor like 5 kids every week in math, and I did that even throughout all of high school because I really enjoyed it. But those kind of 2 dreams paled in comparison to like my ultimate dream, which was that I wanted to be an architect. I was really fortunate. I went to a high school with one of the only 4-year architecture programs in the country, and I started, and I really loved it, and I thought that was it. That was what I was going to do with my life. Case closed. And so how could I achieve that? Linear thinking. I would go to Cornell, which was the best architecture school in the country, and that was how was I going to get there. So one summer I went to France, to Lyon, which is in the south of France, and I studied architecture. And then the next summer I went to WashU to study architecture there. And I also interned for 40 hours a week unpaid in an architecture firm. But at the same time, I was interning unpaid at 6 a.m. on the weekends at a bakery, just on a whim. And the juxtaposition of working at a bakery and waking up super early and kind of working with my hands and then getting to talk with people, and kind of making their day in the smallest way by giving them a croissant, really provided a contrast to sitting staring at a screen in my architecture job. And it was the first time that I was forced to kind of stop on this path that I've been pursuing with like no end, and to reflect on the fact that that wasn't something I really wanted to do with my life anymore. And that was it's very hard, and it felt like a big failure. And so me with my linear thinking, I needed another goal once that one was up. And so for a blip there, I kind of I wanted to be a baker, and so I started looking at culinary schools and interviewing them and all that, but that didn't really last long. And so then I started taking art history classes, and I really liked them. They kind of combined my love of art, but not necessarily being an artist, with my love of writing, which I didn't always like because I didn't feel like there was one right answer. But kind of academic writing felt more certain in a way. And then I came to Stanford. And at Stanford, it was the first time that I've ever been confronted with a group of people where the majority were not humanities oriented. And it was the first time that people kind of questioned why the humanities mattered, or at least why they mattered to me. And I had to stop and reflect on why they do matter, because I think if you're going to defend something, you should have a reason. I think I've come to a few conclusions I want to share with you all. Studying the humanities has forced me to become okay with uncertainty, because there is no one set career that you could achieve with the humanities, and it's been the first time in my life that I have not had a tangible goal. I have had to stop and kind of just live in the moment and wander and study for the sake of studying and learn things for the sake of learning. And I think what's really struck me, having gone to a lot of talks of people who are successful, is that they never really realized how they would get to the point that they are. In fact, they didn't really envision themselves ending up at the successful point that they ended up at, and they could have never imagined the path that it took them to get there. And so kind of being okay with wandering throughout life, just kind of taking each day as it comes. That's kind of what I've taken from the humanities, and being open to opportunities, and not kind of going along this linear path, because ultimately some of the coolest opportunities come when you're open. So that's what humanities